If you get frustrated with flat, lackluster results in Procreate, then you're in for a real treat. I'm about to take you on a retro-inspired Procreate drawing adventure, show you step by step how I apply colour, texture and other techniques to a sketch of a space boy. Throughout the tutorial, I will be revealing my secret and streamlined illustration process, a process which has taken me years to develop. In the description below, I will outline what brushes I have used in this tutorial. However, please feel free to use what you have. In the description, you will also find a free download of the sketch to get you started, as well as a colour palette with the colours I have used. Throughout the tutorial, you will also learn some nifty tips and tricks too. Are you ready to embark on this journey with me? Okay, let's get to it. I have set my canvas dimensions and colour profile to the following settings. Before starting, download the sketch and colour palette and import it into your Procreate canvas. Let's begin. I already have my sketch imported into the canvas, so I'll just select this sketch layer here and set it to multiply and just take the opacity down to about 60%, and we'll just lock this layer here. Next, I'm just going to create two new layers and group these layers, and I'll rename this group to Space Boy. I'm just going to close that and place the sketch on top. So I'm going to select the bottom layer here. I'm going to choose this light blue color here. The brush that we'll be using is a sleek marker at 8%. And what I'm going to do now is just create an outline of the spacesuit and the helmet. Now what I like to do is I like to twist my canvas just as I would with a piece of paper. I just find that this gives me better control and a steadier hand. Let's create the outline. Okay, so I have the outline here, so I'm just going to grab this color and fill that color in. Select this top layer here, and we're just going to change the color to this cream color here. I'll leave the brush and the size as it is, and we will just create an outline like so and fill that color in. And now we'll just grab this layer and pop it over the top like that. Let's create another layer on top. Keep the brush as it is with the same color and the same size. Actually, we might just take the size down to 5%. And we're just going to create an outline of the gloves and the soles of the shoes. So let's do that. Now that I have the outline, I'm just going to fill the color in. And I'm just going to turn the sketch layer on to see what that is looking like. And that's looking quite good. Let's draw the boots. For the color, actually go back to the layer, we'll create a new layer. Here, we'll just put this layer underneath this one. We'll select this brown color here, sleek marker, leave it as it is at size 5. So I'm just going to draw an outline of the boots now. Now fill the color in with that brown color. Let's create the flag. I'm just going to create 2 new layers on top here. Select both, make a group, I'll call this one flag. Select the bottom layer. I'm using sleek marker at around 5% with that cream color here. So I'm just going to create an outline of the flag. I'm going to fill the color in. Now select the top layer and select this color here. Keep the marker, keep the sleek marker, and maybe take it down to size 3 or 4 here. I'm just going to create the stick now, just an outline to start off with, and then fill it in with the color. Fill it in with the color. Just going to grab this and pop this on top. I'm just going to close this group here, and I'm going to create 2 new layers, and I'll group those, and I'll rename this group to Jetpack. We'll select this bottom layer here, choose this mustard color here, keep it at sleek marker at around 8% will do, and I'm just going to create an outline of the jetpack now. I'm just going to fill it in with the color. Close this, and I'm just going to place the jetpack underneath here. I'll just turn the sketch layer off to see what that's looking like. So this is where the magic happens, and it happens relatively fast. Applying texture and other techniques to the flat color we have just created transforms this artwork quickly from flat and dull to an exciting retro-like illustration. The transformation is almost remarkable and takes very little time. So let's do this. So I'll just select this layer here and create a new layer on top. I'm going to choose this blue here, the second one from the left. For the brush, I'll be using the abrasive shader here at size 5, and I'm going to turn the sketch layer back on just to use that as a guide. So now I'm just going to create a bit of shadow here. This is a pressure sensitive brush, so you can lighten up as you go out. And I'm also going to apply a bit of shadow under the helmet here, but I might just take this down a notch to 3% and create a bit of a shadow underneath the helmet. Okay, I'm just going to grab the eraser tool, and I'm just going to erase back here, just increase the size a little bit. What I might do is just go to the sketch layer and just unlock it for the moment, and I'll just increase the opacity here to full, just so I can see where I'm erasing. So I just erase back to the line here, so that creates a nice shadow there. So I'll just turn the sketch layer off to see what that is looking like. So that's looking pretty good. I'll just teach you this little trick. The shadows are looking good, but they're a little bit too stark for my liking. So I'm just going to select multiply here, and I'm just going to play around with the opacity slider until I get the desired effect. So I might leave it at about 45% for now. I can always go back and change it. Let's select this layer here and create a new layer on top. The color that I'll select is this one here. Abrasive shader, around 5. And I'm just going to create a little bit of a shadow on the side of the face here, like so. And I'll just select that and switch it to multiply. Just take it down to about 80%. Now I'll select this layer here and create a new layer on top. I'm going to click on that and turn that into a clipping mask. Now what that does essentially is the shadows that we'll create on this layer will be clipped to the shape that we have on the bottom layer here. So we are going to use the abrasive shader tool and just go down a little in size, 3%. I'm going to turn the sketch layer on to see where I have to put the shadows. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so we can see what we're doing here. Just create a little bit of a shadow here. Bit of a shadow here. And also a bit of a shadow like so on the soles of the shoes. And I'll grab the eraser tool. And I'm just going to erase back a little here. And a little bit here. Turn the sketch layer off. I'm going to click on here and select multiply and just play around with the opacity slider. I'm just going to bring it down a tad, 60%. Now select this layer here with the boots, create a new layer on top. I'm going to select this and turn it into a clipping mask. And select this color here, the abrasive shader, at around 5%. I'm just going to create some shadow here on the boots. And I will select this layer here and select multiply and just the opacity slider until I'm satisfied with the result. Around there, 41%. Let's select this layer. I'll just create a new layer on top and I'll make a clipping mask of that layer. For the color, I'm going to select this color here, and the brush, I'm going to select the light stippler, that size 5. I'll turn the sketch back on and I'm just going to create a little bit of a shadow on the flag here. Now because this is a pressure sensitive brush, just press down with a bit more pressure over here, and then as you go out just release the pressure a little bit, like so. Select that, select multiply, quickly turn the sketch off to see what it's looking like. Select multiply and just take it down. I'll leave it at 40%. And I'm just going to select this layer here and then select the eraser tool. Turn the layer back on. And I'm just going to erase back here. And just a little bit more here, like so. Now let's close this and go back to the jetpack layer. Select this top layer here. For the color, I'm going to select this color here. And back to the abrasive shader brush. At around 5 or 6% is fine here. So I'm just going to create a little bit of shadow on the jetpack here. So press a little bit harder when you're closer in to the arm here, and just release the pressure a little bit, like so. Quickly get an eraser tool and just erase back a little here and a little here. And select that, multiplying, take it down a bit, 54% is fine here. Okay, let's create a new layer on top here, and I'm going to select this black color here, and this time we will be using the bumpy inker at size 8, and I'm going to turn the sketch back on, and I'm just going to fill in the line work on the jetpack. We'll now do the line work on the space boy. Let's go to the space boy group, select the top layer, create a new layer on top. We're going to use the black color, the bumpy inker at around 8%. So let's just do all of the line work on the face, on the spacesuit, and the shoes and the gloves. Let's turn the sketch layer off. Let's continue with the line work on the soles of the shoes here. I'm just going to turn it down a tad in terms of size, 5%. Turn the sketch layer off. Create a new layer on top. I'm going to select this blue color here. I'm going to use the rugged marker here. Turn the sketch layer on. About 7%. I'm just going to create a little outline like so around the helmet. A little kind of dotted outline. And I'll just select multiply and just take it down a tad, about 40%. Create a new layer on top. I'm going to select this pink color here and the dense stippler at around 8 or so %, and we're just going to fill the cheeks in. So this is a pressure sensitive brush, so put a bit of pressure as you start, put a bit of pressure down as you start, and just release the pressure a little bit as you go out, and same here. Turn the sketch layer back on. Create a new layer, leave the color at the pink, and I'm just going to select the mighty pencil for this job, and we're just going to do the love heart and the U here. So I've just created an outline, and I'm going to kind of sketch it in on the inside. Now the U. Quite a lot of pressure, so it's quite a dark and pronounced U. Turn the sketch layer off to see what it's looking like, and I might just shade it in a little bit more. Now let's go back to the jetpack layer here. create a new layer. Just going to swap these two layers around. I'm going to work on the bottom layer here. Select this warm orange yellow color here, and for this one we're going to use the textured pencil. Try it at around 23%. Turn the sketch layer back on. I might just take it down a notch, 17-18%. And I'm just going to create an outline here. Take it down even more, 12%. Just going to create an outline of the flame. And now I'm just going to go in and shade it in a bit as I go in. So release the pressure a little bit, as this is a pressure sensitive brush. Let's select the magic rugged texture at around size 2. Keep the color as it is. And we're just going to fill in the rest. And this magic rugged texture creates a really nice kind of textured feel. So perfect for the flame here. Now we're going to work on the planet. So what we'll do is close this jetpack group, create 2 new layers, select both group. I'll rename this layer to planet. Select the bottom layer. I'll go back to my sleek marker at around size 8. And I'll select this aqua color here. I'm just going to create an outline of the planet here. Now I'll fill the color in. Now we're going to create or add some texture and some color to the planet. So I'll select this yellow color here. I'm going to choose the wet sponge here. I'm going to create a clipping mask out of this layer, and the size, leave it at 5%, see how you go. You can kind of create a little bit of a color and texture like that. And then I'm going to select this here, and you can kind of go through the effects here and see which one suits you. I might try hard light this time and maybe take it down to about 70% or thereabouts. Create a new layer on top, clipping mask, select this green color here, brush, wishy-wash, and we'll just play around with this on the planet. If you like what you see, you can go to the layer, and I'm going to select multiply and just take it down a tad, 78%, maybe a little lower, 75%. Let's create 2 new layers, group these layers. I'll rename this to space. Close this. We're just going to pop this right at the bottom here. So basically what we're going to be doing now is creating a shape color, filling it with color, and that will essentially be space, and later on we'll put some stars on top here. So let's go back to our layers. Just select the bottom layer here in this group, select the dark blue color, brush. We're going to be using the creamy charcoal brush here. They're quite a large size. Try it at around 50-53% to start off with. See how you go. So just start off in the middle like so and work your way out. Put quite a lot of pressure on in the center, so we want a solid blue, but as you work your way out you can release the pressure a little bit, so we have that texture, nice texture on the outside. Let's select the top layer here, and we're going to choose this blue color here. For the brush, we'll select the wet sponge. Let's try it at around 34%. Just create a clipping mask here. And we're just going to create a bit of interest in the space here. If you don't like what it's looking like, you can just delete that and try again. So I'm just going to select this and select add. Just play around with the opacity slider, and I might just keep it at around 20%. I just want it to be quite subtle. Let's now go back to the planet here and create a new layer on top. We'll be using the gritty crayon brush here, this color here, right at the end, this apricot color here. And I'll turn the sketcher layer on, and just so we can see what we're doing, I'll turn the space group off for the moment so I can see the rings. So I'm going to be just working on creating the rings around the planet now. So I'm just going to increase the brush size, try it at 11%, see how you go. That's looking pretty good for me. You can go down in size a little when you're working around here. Just going to turn the sketcher layer off to see what it's looking like. That's looking pretty good. What I will do now is just create a new layer on top, and I will select this cream color here. I'm going to turn the space layer back on, and this time I will use the textured pencil, so over here, and we're just going to break the rings up a little bit with this cream color. Like so. I've just left it at the same size, so 12%, but you can play around here. And what I will do is get the eraser tool, just going to erase back here. Actually, I will have to switch to this layer here so I can erase back. So erase back a little here, let's take it down a notch and erase back a little here. Let's create a new layer on top here. I'll select the splatter shader here. I'll leave it on that cream color at around 22% for the size. So we're just going to create a little bit of interest around the ring. So just go around the ring once, like so. Let's now go back to the space group and create a new layer on top. Keep the cream color. And we're going to select the rugged marker at around 20% or so. And what we're going to be doing here is creating the stars. So we'll start off by creating some large stars. And what we basically do here is a circular motion. Circular motion to create a circle-like shape. And these will be the large stars. So we don't want too many of the large stars, just a few here and there. We want to make them kind of appear like they've been randomly placed. And now I'm just going to take the brush size down a tad, try it at around 13%, and we're going to do some more stars. This time they'll be smaller. Again, We want to place them down randomly. Some stars will be next to each other to create little clusters of stars. And now I'll take it down a bit more, try it at around 5%. And now we're going to create some small stars. Okay, I'm going to do something really special here now. It's a nice little quick trick to add some texture to the entire canvas. So I'll just close this. I'm going to create a new layer on top here, and I'm going to select the subtle noise brush. The color I'll choose is this second blue from the left, and I'll just set it at around 27-28%. So I'm just going to apply this subtle noise brush now to the entire canvas. So you can press down a bit here and just go and apply it to the entire canvas. And now I'll just select that here, and I'm going to choose exclusion. And I'll play around with the opacity slider. I reckon I'll leave it at around 27%. And so what this does is just add a little bit of really subtle noise to the image all over. And it just adds that extra kind of retro feel, which is really nice. Okay, so there we have it. That's the finished artwork. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you why I choose my workflow to be like this. I like to group individual objects so that I can easily move things around and scale them if need be. I'm making it easy to change the final composition. So I'll just show the tools again by using my 4 fingers like that on the screen, and I'll show you what I mean here. So for example, if I now wanted to move or reduce the planet in size or make it bigger, that would be really easy right now. So I would select that group, I would use the selection tool here, the arrow, make sure it's set to uniform, and now I can scale it down or up. I can move it around, and it's a really nice way of working where you can change things around. You can change your composition right at the end. So I might just make this a little bit smaller, the planet, and move it up here like so. So that's the finished piece of artwork. So it's looking pretty good. We can zoom in and have a look at the space boy. He's looking very cute. We've got the planet, we've got the sky in the background, the space with the stars. You know, we've applied texture here. We've learned some techniques, and you've seen how I transform the initial flat color into something that looks like this, just by applying some texture, using some techniques, and applying color. And that's about it. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming on this journey with me.